Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I think I have more Zombies fans subscribed to this YouTube channel than I realized, because I've noticed that most of my Zombies videos are where the subscribers are coming from. I want to say thank you so much for subscribing to more of my recent Zombies videos. I say this because I've had the time of my life talking about zombies and preparing you guys for a zombie apocalyptic invasion, which you can never be too prepared for, and you should never believe scientific experts about how the chances of a zombie apocalypse ever happening is never possible, because it really is possible, especially with how Disney has convinced us that, you know, a girl can fall in love with a zombie now and stay in love with them for the rest of their life. That's really cool, honestly. I think this is one of the coolest scripts that I've ever had the opportunity to review for a Disney Channel original movie. I mean, whoever thought that a girl would fall in love with a zombie for the rest of her life and they would stay in love for forever and encounter so many supernatural forces, from werewolves by Zombies 2 to aliens by Zombies 3, and now 2 different groups of vampires by Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. You know, I say this because talking about Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires was the greatest honor of my life. You know, when this YouTube channel first premiered, I tried my hand at commentating on different niches, but I never realized the power of Descendants and Zombies and how just so much passion existed from the fans of Descendants and Zombies. It was almost like they were sending a special shout out to this channel, calling me to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies, because you knew I had been a podcaster for what felt like forever to a lot of people, and probably they thought it would be cool if I became their dedicated voice to Descendants and Zombies. You know, I don't know what the future has in store for me in this YouTube channel, but I do know the future has me in store for being your voice of Descendants and Zombies, because I call this the greatest honor that I've ever had bestowed upon me as a professional podcast host. And if you wanted the Descendants and Zombies podcast, all you had to do was ask. And, you know, people used to show up my door on Halloween every year. I'm never going to deny that, dressed up as their favorite Descendants and Zombies characters, telling me to go watch Descendants and Zombies and promote the message of kindness and how it represented hope and second chances and how one could fall in love even if it was with a zombie. And, you know, the more that I think about it, I would go for falling in love with a girl who was a zombie. I would go for falling in love with a girl who was a mermaid at this point, because we've seen just about everything happen in the Zombies franchise, haven't we not? And I think that we have had more of a reason to be excited now for Zombies 5 than ever before. I want to say thank you to everybody who has been subscribing to this YouTube channel because of the Zombies videos you have been watching. I don't know if you felt inspired by these videos. You love how I can tell stories that relate to Descendants and Zombies. But I think that this world that we are living in, I say this because I tell you all these funny stories because I say that this world has never been more unpredictable than what it is. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen to us from one moment to the next. And I, for one, would love to live in a world where actually humans and zombies could coexist. Come to think of it, humans and every supernatural creature that you could think of, from werewolves to aliens to even vampires, because I've been a huge fan of vampire TV shows going all the way back to Buffy the Vampire Slayer since the summer of 1997, which was a summer that I will never ever forget. I was fortunate enough to grow up as a millennial, which means I grew up between 1986 and the year 2000, and it was so fun watching shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Vampire Diaries, Twilight, True Blood, just some of them that I could name, become such huge phenomenons. And, you know, nearly 25 years after the success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer was seen, and this beautiful portrayal of a girl, Sarah Michelle Gellar, playing Buffy, was put out there, I'm talking about Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires, and a franchise that has, for certain, changed my life and my perspective on it. Because I like to believe that more people are kinder because of the message they got from zombies about how everybody deserves a second chance. No matter what your circumstances, no matter who you are, or what you have going on around you, you can find true love, you can always be given a second chance, and you can always have an opportunity to fix the mistakes that you believe you have made. Because I have to be honest with each and every one of you, I am far from perfect, and I've said this many times on my show. I've often wanted opportunities to go back in time and tell more people in my life that I necessarily never had the opportunity to tell that I love them. I wanted to fix a lot of the mistakes that I made. But I think that's what all makes us human and makes us equal, is that even though some of us never admit to the mistakes we've made, we all know we've made them, and we all want an opportunity to go back in time and fix some of the mistakes we regret making. Because God knows I have a lot of regrets. But what Zombies taught me was that everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody deserves to find hope, and everybody eventually, one way or another, no matter how they find it, they all find their light. And that's the message that I have been trying to put out here on this YouTube channel from the very first video that was uploaded about Descendants or Zombies on this channel, after I promised you that I would upload at least 1 or 2 Descendants and Zombies videos every day on this YouTube channel. And I have followed through with that promise, because I believe that making a promise and honoring that promise to your audience is something that will forever ensure your legacy for going down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. You know, it really upsets me when I see all these reaction videos of zombies. I'll be watching more zombies reaction videos throughout the evening after I record this final video. Because these videos really frustrate me with how they don't provide you with commentaries on how they feel about Descendants and Zombies. They act so excited to watch the premiere of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires or record a reaction to a music video, and they upload the 30-minute long reaction video, and what do you get from it? Do they even provide you with commentary about Descendants and Zombies and tell you how they feel about it? They may act excited, but do they even understand the story? That's what I've often wondered. And that's what really upsets me, because you have people like Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim who have these franchises meaning so much to them. They know they are in the position to take over because of what Zombies gave them, and what Zombies gave them was an opportunity. And I think that's what everybody who ever auditioned for roles on Disney Channel, no matter what TV series you're talking about, Girl Meets World, Liv and Manny, Wizards of Waverly Place, Hannah Montana, Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, from years prior to the success of Descendants and Zombies ever being witnessed. I think that's all they've ever wanted, is an opportunity to be seen and to be heard through the power of music or the power of them being an actress. And that's what Descendants presented for someone like Dove Cameron. Dove Cameron came from out of nowhere at Cambridge, Seattle, and she literally exploded overnight as a superstar on Disney Channel when she was going through some of the most difficult and traumatic times of her life. She was able to put that aside and go down in history for being one of the most revered characters in Disney history now, who represented that no matter what anybody thought of her, she was going to go out and achieve something far greater in her life and have her legacy go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. And for 3 movies of Descendants, making it a huge trilogy and one of the most successful of all time, she achieved that. Meg Donnelly the same. Meg Donnelly came from out of nowhere. Nobody even knew who she was. This was ever before opportunities were presented for her for American Housewife or The Winchesters, or ever before she met and fell in love with Drake Rogers. Nobody had ever heard of her. Her family came from no acting background whatsoever. All they knew was that their daughter, Mike and Liz, knew that she was going to go down in history for being one of the greatest actresses of all time, because she wanted that more than anything. And Zombies presented her with that opportunity. And because of Zombies presenting that same opportunity to Mila Manheim to play the lead Zed, what happened was one of the most beautiful friendships of all time was derived, and they became Disney Channel's power couple. And they're still Disney Channel's power couple almost a decade later. Nobody has ever been able to surpass their legacies. The song Legends in the Making from Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was the greatest song that was never given enough credit on the soundtrack of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. And I'm talking about every song that we've heard dropped on the Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires soundtrack, from Dreams Come True to Go My Own Way to Stand Together. We've heard so many beautiful songs on the soundtrack, and each song is equally as beautiful as the other in their own right. But I think that Legends in the Making really was a song that was never given enough credit because of its message. It had a very powerful message of how anybody, no matter who they were, he or she could go down in history for being a legend, for being one of the most successful cheerleaders of all time, being one of the most successful volleyball players of all time, being a weightlifter, whoever you were in this life, for whatever your legacy is going to be remembered for. The song wanted you to know that you had a chance for going down in history for being a legend and the greatest of all time. I say this because this is all I've ever wanted to be, is to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. Not because I thought I deserved or felt like I should go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. It was just a dream. It started with a dream of mine when I was 13 years old. Ever before my first podcast was ever heard on August 15, 1999, I spoke on how I had a chance to grow up as a millennial from 1986 to 2000, and it was one of the greatest honors of my life because I had the opportunity to see the rise in popularity of bands like the Backstreet Boys. I remember being in line at Music World years ago. I can't remember if it was Music World or CD Plus, but I remember being in the lineup of either place waiting to purchase the first album of the Backstreet Boys, the premiere album of the Backstreet Boys. I remember the rise of the band NSYNC. I remember the movie Shrek being released and Finding Nemo. It was the time of my life. And I remember being a fan of such TV shows like Power Rangers, Goosebumps, Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goof Troop, DuckTales. Everything that Disney had happening for it in the 1990s, I remember being a part of. But I can never remember being a part of something so amazing as the Zombies project and having so much support from the fans of Descendants and Zombies. It is truly unbelievable. It is an experience that I will forever and always cherish. Every day, somebody never fails to subscribe to this YouTube channel because they see the good in this show. They see the good in the guy hosting the show. Because come to think of it, I think I'm the only guy who regularly uploads Descendants and Zombies videos to his channel, and guarantees you that there will be a video uploaded on his channel about Descendants and Zombies at least once every day. And ever since August 5th, 2024, just last year, a little over a year ago, there has been a video surface about Descendants and Zombies. It could be my opinion on Dove Cameron and her relationship with Ryan McCartan, on Dove Cameron in general. It could be on Meg Donnelly and Milo Manheim, the characters Zed and Addison. It could be on the Zombies franchise. It could be on Zombies 2, Zombies 3, Zombies 4. But it's always something fun happening on this YouTube channel about Descendants and Zombies. You got that from today's Saturday morning lineup. Beautiful videos were uploaded all throughout today, talking about Zombies 4, talking about the Worlds Collide Tour, talking about my predictions for Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland. Because I would be lying to you if I told you I wasn't excited about Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland. I love the title alone. I mean, the title alone is reason enough to be excited for Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland. We don't know from now up until the summer of 2026 when this is going to be released. We know it's going to be released sometime in the summer of 2026, but I think that's what makes it an exciting time to be a fan of Descendants. Because at this moment, it's filled with so much unpredictability, things that we don't know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And so, too, we don't know what's going to happen in Zombies 5. We don't know when it's going to be released. Sometime between now and 2028 is what's being speculated. But that's what will create all the rumors. And this is what I'm most intrigued by, are all the rumors of what could be inside of that vortex. Mermaids have been discussed. Pirates have been discussed. Somehow or some way, witches and sirens have found their way into the conversation. And with how mysterious that vortex looks, I, for one, am incredibly excited to find out what's inside of it, and how much further we can take the story between Victor and Nova, and how much speculation will be offered on what's next for Victor and Nova, because they were adorable in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. I will never deny that to you guys. You guys are some of the smartest fans in the world. People were emailing me about the future of Malachi Burton and Freya Sky as the characters Victor and Nova. People were asking me if I thought the title of the Zombies franchise would change now that Zed is no longer the lead. You know, I would still go for it being called Zombies, because I think the title Zombies has forever and always held a special place in our hearts. That's what we remember the franchise for. So even if they still call it Zombies and they focus on Daywalkers and Nightwalkers being in love for eternity, I still think it's going to be just as effective, and millions of people will watch it. I mean, Zombies 1, Zombies 2, and Zombies 3 had 250 million hours of stream time ever before Zombies 4 was released. It was everybody's go-to. It was everybody's comfort zone. You know, watching the latest Zombies movie ever before Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was in the mind of anybody. And then from out of nowhere at a D23 convention, they announced that Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was going to start production in New Zealand, changing it up from Toronto. And I thought that was a really huge idea, you know, to shoot the movie in New Zealand, because no movie had ever gone that far. I mean, all that Descendants was ever shot in was British Columbia. And I'm not taking anything away from British Columbia, but I think that Descendants could have gone with a location change of anything, because they've shot every movie in British Columbia. And I know that some of the stars were really frustrated. They were stuck in British Columbia filming Descendants, I think during some of the most difficult times of their life, but I think they would have went for a location change. I also give them a profound amount of credit for shooting scenes in the nighttime, which is incredibly difficult for those of you who don't know. It's incredibly challenging shooting scenes and doing 1,000 takes a day in the daytime, but it's ultimately more challenging and a far greater challenge shooting scenes in the nighttime, because you're also expected to bring the best of yourself not only in the daytime but also in the nighttime. You start shooting scenes at 7 p.m. and not finish until 5 a.m. the next morning. So you're pretty much getting off set when the sun is coming up. And that's something I give a profound amount of credit for a lot of the stars of Zombies for being able to do, because I don't even know if I'd be able to do that. But come to think of it, I probably would, perhaps, because I'm a huge fan of Zombies, and I've always wanted to be a part of the production and add value to it, so I'd go for that. So if Zombies is looking for someone to kick a whole lot of serious ass, I would definitely go for that. And I would definitely go out on a speedboat excursion just to discover what's inside of this vortex for you guys. I would jump inside of this thing, no matter if it was witches, sirens, mermaids I had to encounter. I would love to encounter what's ever inside of this vortex. I would love to come back on this show and tell you what I discovered to be inside of that vortex, even though I know everything with a vortex is usually associated and affiliated with doom and the end of the world, which sounds really intriguing. You know, come to think of it, I think the Zombies 5 plot and the story that has yet to be discovered is one of the most intriguing that I've ever had the opportunity to cover. And I've covered everything about the Zombies franchise, from how zombies were first introduced, and we go from zombies to werewolves, from werewolves to aliens, and now aliens and vampires. I know a lot of people were really frustrated that the vampires came after the aliens, and it would have been more cool if aliens probably would have been the last thing to be, introduced into this franchise. But, I don't think it would have really mattered if vampires would have came before aliens, or aliens would have came before vampires. Obviously, aliens came before vampires. But the thing is, there are so many supernatural creatures yet to debut in the Zombies franchise, and yet to be discovered and have their story told, that it doesn't matter who comes before the other. There are so many endless opportunities to create with supernatural creatures in the Zombies franchise, which is why I really believe we should never buy into what the critics are telling us on their YouTube channels about how, because they're running out of supernatural creatures, supposedly, they need to stop making Descendants and Zombies movies. That really breaks my heart when people who claim to be the biggest fans of Descendants and Zombies are convincing us that the franchises are soon going to reach their dramatic conclusions. And I love how they throw in dramatic when they are talking about the franchises, because these franchises have been anything but dramatic. They are far from dramatic and far from reaching their conclusion, because we have 600,000 fans of Descendants and Zombies on YouTube who have yet to discover this YouTube channel and subscribe to it. So that means I have a lot of work to do, which means I have a lot of videos to create about Descendants of Zombies, and I will continue this incredible journey until your favorite Descendants of Zombies stars have the justice shown to them that they've deserved for forever. Because I don't think they should be subjected to this criticism. When you have new stars like Freya Sky who are doing the best they can to bring the best out of this franchise and to eventually be discovered as some of the greatest of all time, because I really do believe that 10 years from now Freya Sky will be the next Taylor Swift. I think she has a lot to offer to the Zombies franchise, and there are so many moments we have yet to experience of being fans of Descendants and Zombies, which I'm incredibly excited for the future of. I would love to talk about zombies for the next 20 years, to be honest with each and every one of you. And if there was one guy on YouTube who was going to spend the rest of his life, the next 20 years, talking about Descendants and Zombies, it would have to be this guy. Because everything about zombies to me, I don't know about you guys, but everything about zombies to me made perfect sense. How one could find true love even if it was with a zombie. How every song on every zombie soundtrack was so significant. From This Is Going to Be My Year to Somewhere I Belong by Zombies 2. To We Own the Night by Zombies 2. By Zombies 3 we had powerful music. And now by Zombies 4, the best soundtrack I've ever heard came out because of Zombies 4. And I don't know for the life of me why so many people spent so much time criticizing the music video Place to Be, which was a music video to introduce us to the vampires in the Zombies franchise, to help us make sense of what to expect just months later with the premiere of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires happening that forthcoming July. I think that everybody criticizing the music videos to the plot, mocking the plot, I think it was totally unnecessary. Because I think that more of a chance needed to be given to these stars. I go back to that final scene that Zed and Addison spent together on top of that hill in New Zealand. It was a beautifully collaborated scene that made us believe that hope and true love really did exist, because all two people ever wanted to do was fall in love and stay in love for forever. And Zombies gave them that chance to tell that story. I think one of the most rewarding experiences for Zed and Addison's characters was they were given the opportunity to tell a story, and they were able to tell the story in a very effective way. Tell the story and complete it. But I, for one, believe that with how beautifully told their story may have been, there is so much more of a story yet to be told about Zed and Addison. So I don't think we should be shutting the door and remaining it having been closed when there's so much of a story for them to, yet to be told. And I don't think we should close the door on the hope we would ever see them reprise the roles, even if it was in the form of a cameo. Now, that doesn't go without saying that Freya Sky and Malachi Burton are not going to do a fabulous job carrying on this franchise, because I really do believe they will. I just said her earlier how I thought that she had a chance of going down in history for being the next Taylor Swift. I say this because she really does. If there was ever a star that I had hope in, and faith in, it would have to be Freya Sky, because Freya Sky is someone who is incredibly beautiful and very talented in her own right, and I for one am incredibly excited to see what the future has in store for her, just as I am every other character who's come in and made up this Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires franchise, because it's so incredible. I mean, I don't think there was a moment that I wasn't caught up within the plot of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. You know, people will always tell you that they can tell a story in 90 minutes and complete it, and I am a firm believer that you can do anything but tell a story and complete it in just under 90 minutes. For those of you who may have believed that Descendants Rise of Red was one story in its own right and it was told and completed, then there's obviously something wrong there, because this story was far from over from the moment that the Rise of Red premiered, because there were so many unanswered questions. We didn't know what the consequences of time travel were going to be. We don't know what to expect with Descendants 5, Book of Wonderland. All we know at this point in time is that Red has a sister. And with all these new characters finding their way into the franchise constantly, even including characters from Princess and the Frog and Encanto now, I mean, one can only imagine what kind of storylines are going to be created off of the success of the Rise of Red, which, as far as I'm concerned, even though in the light of all the criticism it received, was the most successful franchise ever for the Descendants franchise. They did anything but tell a story and complete it, because that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted us to be left with so many unanswered questions, so we'd be excited about the future of the franchise. And I, for one, am incredibly excited to be on this journey with each and every one of you to discover what's next for both the Descendants and Zombies franchises, because I believe there is far more of a story yet to be told. And obviously you do too, with over almost 60,000 channel views having happened for this YouTube channel, and nearly 3,000 subscribers, with 2,803 subscribers having come in on this YouTube channel over the last number of Zombies videos that have been uploaded on this YouTube channel. I know it has everything to do with all the Zombies videos I've been uploading, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the love and support you have shown my Zombies videos. I want you guys to know that whenever the videos about Zombies and Descendants are uploaded, there will always be a video uploaded on this YouTube channel for you. You guys will always have this channel to help you make sense of Descendants and Zombies. You will always have funny stories. You will always have emotional moments looked at. You will always have authentic commentaries, which I really do believe are very different from other channels that upload Descendants and Zombies videos, because pretty much they are 5 to 12 minute long videos that really make no sense to a whole lot of people. And don't even get me started on these reaction videos, because these reaction videos are really ridiculous. I think you guys have deserved better for far long enough now. I think you've deserved better from the very first moment someone criticized the original Descendants, because I really think that Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson did a fabulous job. Because if not for their success story being told in the Descendants franchise and believing they've told the story and completed it, we would have never gotten to the point that we're at now, where Kylie Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner are, trying to, live on the legacies of your favorite Descendants and Zombie stars. And I'm just here to tell you guys the story for what it's worth and its true value. I'm here to showcase Descendants and Zombies the way I believe it's been meant to be showcased for a very long time, because, as I've always said, there's a passion and a pride that goes with talking about Descendants and Zombies, and obviously Meg Donnelly believes there's a passion and a pride that goes with Descendants and Zombies. So too does Milo Manheim, because Meg Donnelly is in the best shape of her life. For those of you who haven't noticed, Meg Donnelly is stronger than ever. So too is Ruby Rose Turner. So I believe that if anything, their stories are far from over, and if anything, those stories are far from being completed. I am incredibly excited to see what the future has in store for these two franchises, and I just want to be a part of it like all of you. I want to be a fan like each and every one of you. I want to talk about Descendants and Zombies for what it is worth. I want to be a part of this from beginning to end, and I don't ever want to see these stories end. I want to see these stories last for forever, and I want it to give us a reason to be excited from chapter to chapter. I don't want to encourage your hopes and dreams that you've had about Descendants and Zombies for what may feel like forever for all of you, and I'm just incredibly excited to be your voice of Descendants and Zombies for just a little bit longer. Just a little while longer. We can talk about Descendants and Zombies, and we can have fun doing it. That's if you would hit the subscribe button and join me on this incredible journey that you girls have had me on for the last decade. Because I can tell you guys that this decade that you guys have had me on, this incredible journey, has been the greatest decade of my life, and I've loved every single moment of it. Having not only the honor to talk about Descendants and Zombies, but also had the honor of meeting each and every one of you. Because you guys could have quit on me from the very first video that was ever uploaded on this YouTube channel, but you didn't. And I can rest easy tonight knowing that somebody will hit the subscribe button, because she too loves Descendants or zombies. Everybody is welcome to be a part of this YouTube channel. While I can't speak for other YouTube creators that may upload one reaction video about both Descendants and zombies, this YouTube channel will always have something for you about Descendants and zombies forever and always, because I believe you've deserved it for a very long time. And if I have to be the guy to give you great Descendants and zombies videos, then so be it. I will be the greatest guy ever to give you Descendants and zombies videos, and hopefully we'll go down in history for being remembered for being one of the most revered and the greatest of all time to have talked about Descendants and zombies on his YouTube channel for you. So as the sun sets on my life tonight, as you can see it peeking in through my window tonight, I want you guys to know that we are both looking at the same moon and the same stars, and somewhere in that constellation the words I love you are written. And because somewhere in that constellation the words I love you are written, that means there's hope and true love to be found for everybody out there in this world. And I never ever want you to forget that, because I love you has never been said enough in this world and doesn't seem to exist. Doesn't mean that we can't make a difference in someone else's life and really in our own. Thank you guys for having joined me on this incredible journey all throughout today, and hopefully you'll join me again tomorrow when I once again talk about Descendants and zombies and give it the spotlight that it so rightfully deserves. Thank you guys so much for keeping kindness in your heart and keeping kindness alive in this world, because I've always believed that there was never enough kind words said to someone in this lifetime. I never see enough kind people, but that doesn't mean that we all can't make a difference, because the world is always evolving. It's constantly changing. And I'm just so proud to be a part of this journey that you girls have had me on for forever. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to be a part of your life, as I have been a part of yours for forever. And I've allowed you to be a part of mine. Tomorrow we will talk about Descendants and zombies again. Until then, keep kindness in your heart. And just know I love you guys so very much. And we will talk about Descendants and zombies again tomorrow. Bye, YouTube. We will talk again in literally just a few hours from now. Stay calm and zombie on, everybody, because that's the only way to be and forever remain in this life.